The polar ice caps have melted, covering the Earth with water. Those who survived have adapted to a new world.
Waterworld is the mega hit blockbuster, at least in my house, about a world that is totally covered in water. Like, Waterworld is not a metaphor or an allegory or anything. Like, the world is just now water. It is a water world. Waterworld was released in 1995, and at the time, it was the most expensive movie ever made. Now, the movie is considered a bomb, but I've never understood why. Like, this movie is great. I mean, granted, I was a kid when it came out, and if you still don't believe me, then here's the only review you ever need to hear about Waterworld.
Dry land is not a myth! I've seen it! Kevin Costner, Waterworld. I don't know what all the fuss is about! I saw that movie 6 times! It rules!
Waterworld begins with a voiceover where we learn that this global catastrophe was caused by the melting of the polar ice caps, and that those who didn't die have adapted their new life as water people on this new water world. One of the survivors of the Great Watering is the stoic loner named Mariner, who is so well adapted to this world that he has a filtration system set up so he can drink his own urine. And like 90% of his day is just drinking his own pee. It's not a lot to do. It's a water world.
Nothing's free in Waterworld.
They even call it Waterworld. I told you, it's not that deep. It is literally just a world covered in water. So let's just enjoy it. And scattered across Waterworld, people have set up floating atolls where sailors can come to trade. This particular atoll tries to turn Mariner away, but they change their mind when they see that he has a jar of dirt, which next to clean water has to be the most sought after commodity. And since it's so rare, they offer to pay Mariner...
Works out to 62 chits.
62 chits. I don't know what the value of a chit is, but I can't imagine 62 of them being nearly enough for a jar full of dirt.
I want twice that.
That still doesn't seem like enough.
We'll tally it like, pure hydro.
I love post-apocalyptic movies where generations have passed and the old words and phrases have been replaced with something else. But for this one, calling it hydro just seems so silly to me. Like, you still have the word water, like you live in a water world. Now, some of you will say, no, they use it to signify the difference between the salt water of the ocean and the normal drinking water. And to those people I say, we have that now, and we still call both of them water.
One more.
With all those chits, you could order up a bath. Have you ever had a freshwater bath?
Why are you talking to me?
How pissed would you be if you were living on a floating garbage heap just struggling to survive, and a traveling dirt salesman showed up and bought all of the fresh drinking water and just sloshed around naked in it, and then just took off? Like, why is that even a service that's offered? Wait until you're an established society, and then allow the rich the luxury of a freshwater bath. There's talk around the atoll of a child with a map tattooed on her back, which will lead to the mythical dry land.
One sip of hydro.
No, not till you tell me.
She got inkings on her back. I seen her. If you read the marks on the child, they'll lead you all the way to dry land.
Also, this strung-out looking SOB is listed in the credits as hydroholic, and he is seemingly a lower-class citizen because he's constantly jonesing for water. But, everyone needs water to live, so actually he's lower on the caste system because he doesn't have enough chits to buy water. This poor guy, there's 20 people on this raft and they're just gonna let someone suffer because he doesn't have enough of the completely made up currency that they have? What a weird world. What an odd little water world. And just to be clear, this applies to any currency. It's all made up. We just made it up. We're all just playing pretend. And the evil Nord knows that the tattooed girl is a Nola, who is an orphan being cared for by the shopkeeper Helen.
Is that a tomato plant? How much?
Half your chits.
Only half? I would think that a fully functioning tomato plant would be worth way more. Like, Mariner could just eat all those tomatoes, and if he was so inclined, he could then just sell the dirt back to him for 120 chits again. And now some of you may be saying, no, he combined the chits that he got from the dirt with chits that he already had. Listen, Mariner knows that chits are worthless. He is not rolling into a new town with any chits. And they don't even count it out. I'm starting to think this whole economy is just like the equivalent of kids playing supermarket. What'll it be today, my good man? 1 loaf of bread, sir. Okay, that'll be $100, please. Here you go. Beep, boop, 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 boop. So you have this struggling floating island community, every day more difficult than the last, and this dude comes strolling in and he cleans you out of your tomato plant, a crap ton of your drinking water.
We bought everything.
Take them shelves.
And he takes your shelves? But hey, at least you have all the chits back that you originally paid him for its dirt. I mean, you don't have food or water or shelving anymore, but you've got chits. How does this economy work?
All we want is your seed. When she's pregnant, you're going away with all the supplies you need.
So you let this dude take everything of value from your little island, and then you're just gonna offer up someone's daughter to Ocean Michael Bolton?
No man stays out that long and turns down a woman.
Hey, scary German guy with a very narrow worldview, but a sweet hat.
Maybe he's a smoker spy.
And in the ensuing scuffle, they discover that Mariner is a mutant who has gills.
By what right?
You pay me to keep the peace.
You pay me 8,000 chits a week. Some of them I eat because they kind of look like snack crackers. Some I just kind of skip across the ocean. They're basically useless. So they lock up Mariner until they can decide what to do with them, and kindly old Gregor pleads with Mariner to tell them what the tattoo on Enola's back means, but he says he doesn't know, and so the town decides to drown him in the recycling pit. Before they can go through with it, the atoll is attacked by smokers, who are the evil thugs who travel around on jet skis and motorboats. And now Waterworld is often, accurately, referred to as Mad Max on water, but it's always said like that's a bad thing, and I have no idea why. Give me more movies with that description. Like, oh, have you seen Moonstar? It's like Mad Max, but on the moon. Or, hey, have you seen Dogs Giving? It's like Mad Max, but with a talking dog who thwarts a gang of jewel thieves on Thanksgiving. Leading the smokers is the villainous Deacon, played by the late great Dennis Hopper. And the smokers have a tremendous amount of firepower at their disposal, and they also have this. And you know this scene was used specifically to pitch the Waterworld stunt show at Universal. And in the midst of the chaos, Gregor accidentally releases the hot air balloon that they were going to use to find dry land.
There was an accident. I can't make this stop. Hurry!
Like, I know Gregor is lying, but I can't figure out why.
There was an accident!
So their hope for finding dry land rested on a flying contraption that you have zero control over. Helen saves Mariner under the condition that he takes them with them, and Fishman! Deacon loses an eye in the battle and goes back to their fortress called the D's. The D's is actually the floating remains of the Exxon Valdez, and it is a shithole. And they only have enough crude oil to last them 2 months.
The only thing that is important is the tattooed girl. We don't spare any go juice finding her.
We'll burn through that in 2 lunars.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgot we were in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. They only have enough go juice for 2 lunars. So Mariner, Helen, and Enola settled into their dysfunctional family dynamic.
Kid, we got to pitch over the side.
Where's my child? Come here! I'm here!
Fact, you talk all the time. Storm when you're around.
Noah! Hey! What are you doing? Can't swim!
And now, this movie does take a long time to cut through Mariner's gruff exterior, but like Costner was going through a divorce at the time, and he was in a pretty dark place, so we'll cut him some slack. He was working through some stuff.
What do you do? No! Please, no!
Like, a lot of stuff. So things would be pretty awkward on the boat after that, but luckily a smoker plane piloted by Jack Black flies by, and like that'll give them something to talk about for days until the messiness of all that attempted murder dies down. They come across an insane drifter who wants to buy the women, and he offers them paper in exchange. Alright, Mariner, here's where you show your good side. Because selling women for a couple of pieces of paper is barbaric, and the Mariner is a man of integrity.
Half an hour.
So that's why he rents them out for a half hour instead. It's called chivalry, people. Look it up.
45 minutes with the wee one.
Oh, holy hell. Come on, Waterworld, what are you going for here? Alright, so luckily, the drifter settles for the adult woman to force himself upon and takes her down below and...
Trade's off.
Finally... Wait, the trade's off? So like, this wasn't part of some plan to lure him down there to kill him and remove this menace from Waterworld? You were actually gonna go through with this? Like, you traded her for a Benihana menu and then changed your mind because you had buyer's remorse?
She's mine. No, I won't have it, no.
That technically you're releasing her, but so the Mariner kills the drifter and all is right in the Waterworld again. And so after a rough couple of incidents involving trying to murder her by drowning and selling her into sex slavery, they now have a father-daughter relationship. Well, like an alcoholic abusive father-daughter relationship, but like an alcoholic abusive fish father-daughter relationship. But things go south again when Mariner tells him the dry land is a myth. And so Mariner says that he'll show her dry land, and they dive under the ocean through what I'm guessing is Denver? I mean, right? It's gotta be Denver. Are there any other plausible theories? I feel like this Mike's Donut sign is a pretty big clue. I tried to Google Mike's Donuts, but it didn't really bring up anything. So if you live in an area that has a ski lift and had a Mike's Donuts in the mid-90s, let me know. I need to figure out where they are. Also, Mariner's dirt scam seems even more sinister now. He goes to a struggling atoll with a jar full of the unlimited dirt supply that only he has access to, and he basically just cleans them out. And when they come back up, they find the smokers have already boarded the boat, and they take Enola and set the boat on fire. And Mariner's going through Enola's drawings when he realizes that she was drawing pictures of dry land the whole time. And then Gregor finally shows up on his balloon machine and...
Not thinking to burn your boat! Without the smoke, I never would have found you!
Oh, look who's suddenly an expert at flying this thing. You were like the bumbling Wizard of Oz before. Oh, I don't know how to stop it. You liar. And they figure out that the numbers on Enola's back are coordinates. Mariner goes alone to rescue Enola, and he sneaks aboard the D's while Enola helps grow the legend of the Mariner.
What's his name?
He doesn't have a name, so death can't find him. He's fast and strong. He can hear 100 miles and see 100 miles underwater. He can be right behind you and you won't even know it till you're dead.
You know, I can't think of any of my friends that would speak so highly of me, and I've never even tried to sell any of them to a stranger for trash. So Mariner goes out on deck and holds a flare over the pipe that leads to the tank of oil and threatens to drop it unless Deacon releases Enola, which is of course a bluff because that would most likely kill them all. And, okay. Deacon tries to take off in a plane, but in a kick-ass practical effects stunt that Kevin Costner performed himself, Mariner ziplines down to the deck while the D's is exploding all around him, and he attaches a cable to the airplane wheels right as Deacon takes off, causing it to crash. Just freaking awesome. So the Exxon Valdez, for the second time, releases 2 lunars worth of unrefined go juice into the giant salty hydro pond. Gregor and Helen show up in their balloon and pull Mariner and Enola to safety, but Deacon shoots Enola off the balloon into the water, and Mariner bungee jumps down and brings her up seconds before Deacon and the other 2 smokers crash into each other. Alright, that one was kind of stupid. Gregor finally figures out the map and they fly for weeks, and just when all hope seems lost, they finally find dry land, which is supposed to be Mount Everest, right? It's gotta be Mount Everest. So they flew from Denver to the peak of Mount Everest. I should Google Maps that and figure out how long that would take. So let's see, Denver to Mount Everest, and what? Doesn't even have a hot air balloon option. I can't take a plane there either? How the hell else am I supposed to get from my dental practice in Denver to Mount Everest in order to hunt a Yeti? And they find the bones of Enola's parents, and, guys, maybe you should have Enola step outside so she doesn't see the corpses of her mom and dad? Actually, she doesn't seem to mind, so carry on. And Mariner says that he can't stay, and he leaves on a boat nowhere near as cool as the one he had, and that's it. And this probably could have been a kick-ass franchise, but I think the movie only made like $8 million, which is still a lot. Like, give me $8 million, you'll never see me again. Give me a fraction of that, you'll never see me again. $100,000 in a Toyota Camry and you'll never see me again.